Jeden Tag verlieren in den USA 428 Menschen einen Arm oder ein Bein. Diese Zahl bezieht sich auf Zeiten des Friedens und beinhaltet keine Kriegsverletzungen. Mehr als 1,5 Millionen, männlich wie weiblich und alle Altersgruppen, bewältigen die täglichen Anstrengungen und Herausforderungen mit einem oder mehreren Körperteilen weniger. Der Verlust eines Teiles von Arm oder Bein bedeutet nicht, dass das Leben nun aufhört, es kann manchmal sogar bedeuten, dass das Leben jetzt erst richtig anfängt. Wo ist dein nächster Schritt? 1980 hat Cornelia Sachs ihr Bein wegen eines Knochentumors verloren. Doch heute lebt sie in ihrem eigenen Haus, betreibt ihre eigene Praxis, hält Schritt mit ihrer heranwachsenden Tochter und nimmt an regelmäßigen und herausfordernden Aktivitäten teil. Ihre Lebensreise hat sie über Kontinente geführt und in das innere Reich ihrer Seele.
I believe today that whatever you really want to do, you can do. Sometimes maybe not in the way you have imagined it. You have to find a new way to do it, but you can do what you want.
Amputation kann ganz plötzlich notwendig werden, wie bei einem Unfall, oder Teil eines langwierigen Prozesses sein, zum Beispiel bei Krankheiten wie Krebs oder Diabetes. Wie auch immer, es ist traumatisch, ein Bein zu verlieren. Und obwohl wir alle auf verschiedene Weise mit diesem Verlust umgehen, ist doch der Zorn oftmals ein erster Schritt im Heilungsprozess.
It starts out with anger and you go through the why me thing. I think a big part of it is also that sometimes you and your environment doesn't know how to deal with it. And so then everybody is very careful. And nobody, in some families, my families we didn't know how to talk about it. So you're a little lost in that. I know of one girl, she lost her leg also to cancer when she was a teenager. She was 12 or 14. And the night before she got her leg cut off, she would rub all kinds of creams on her leg and say goodbye to her leg. And I felt, wow, she was way ahead of me. And then I think it comes also that, you go, I think you go through the grieving processes over and over again in a circle, like there's something that you cannot do the way you would like it to do.
I was angry when this happened. I've been angry about it every day of my life. It hurts every day in some way. But what you learn through an experience, a limb loss experience, is you learn that life deals hands. And those hands that are dealt aren't all the same. It's like a poker game. Some hands are better. And it's how you play the hand that you're dealt is what really matters. In my case, that anger never has gone away, but I learned fairly early on to channel that anger and focus that anger and find a way to take that anger and make it constructive rather than destructive. Rather than destructive to me, because that's what that anger was doing to me. So I think that it is life-changing.
Eh bien, avant de rencontrer le Tony, je me débrouillais tout à fait bien dans la vie quotidienne et les déplacements et tout ça, mais avec beaucoup de tension. Et j'avais beaucoup de douleurs des membres fantômes. Et je supportais des moments très difficilement les appareils. J'avais beaucoup d'agressivité et presque l'envie de les casser. Et j'ai eu une rééducation très musculaire. Il fallait faire tout en effort. Et ça finissait par me gêner dans la vie avec les autres personnes, comme si cette carapace musculaire m'isolait un peu, me rendait le contact avec les gens plus difficile.
Der Heilungsprozess beinhaltet nicht nur das Heilen der Wunde nach der Operation, sondern auch das Trauern um den Verlust und das Finden der richtigen Werkzeuge, ganz buchstäblich, um das Leben wieder aufzunehmen.
My first one made my first leg, and it was never comfortable enough. I was using a cane, and then I found my second one, and things have been fine from there. So that's one thing we try to reiterate to our new amputees, is that don't always be satisfied with the first prosthetist you go see. That you should interview more than one.
You have the right to check around, and your insurance can't always give you the guidelines on that. They can't always tell you who you have to go to. You gotta check around.
Die beste Prothese ist die Prothese, die zu der Kräfte des Patienten passt, zu der Arbeit, die er macht. Manchmal ist es ein ganz leichtes Gelenk, das überhaupt keine Pendelfasersteuerung hat, und manchmal braucht es eine starke Pendelfasersteuerung und dazu vielleicht ein Zielek, ein Computerknie, wo der Patient ohne Sorge, ohne aufzupassen gehen kann, weil die Elektronik ihm immer das Knie in die richtige Stellung bremst. Das Ding ist aber sehr teuer und hat Nachteile, die heute immer noch schwerwiegend sind.
Well, one woman, we were talking about technology and how sometimes technology can really help and give a lot of answers, but sometimes it doesn't work. And she shared that she had a very new prosthetic device that was high-tech, but that it really didn't work. And she was very frustrated to have put all this hope and expectation into the new device, and then it ended up causing her so much pain that she had to abandon using it. And I found out with some of the other clients that I work with that they've had the same experience, that it doesn't always work the way they expect it to.
Today, if I would do something differently, I probably would educate myself when I know this is where I'm heading, that I would, also face it and look into what are choices, how important is limb length, or all those things. But I didn't have any knowledge, but I just had an intuition. I felt like if they tell me that I have to agree, this means that I need to agree, so there's a choice. And then I thought, my tumor was in the tibia head, which is right below the knee. And so I thought, I won't agree to having them take my whole thigh. And so the next morning when they came, I said to them that I won't let them operate on me until they give me in writing that they'll leave me a third of my thigh. And they were not, they were set on just doing it, and so it created a little stir. And they gave me some anesthesia to calm me down, and I wouldn't fall asleep. And they repeated it, and they repeated it a third time, and I still wasn't asleep. And then the surgeon himself came and said, "What's up?" And I said, "I'm going home now if you don't guarantee me that I'll keep a third of my thigh." And then as soon as they gave me that in writing, I keeled over.
They call me Peg Leg Pete. I've been Peg Leg Pete for many, many years. I've been an amputee for 42 years. In that 42 years, I've seen great changes in the prosthetics industry. My first socket and leg total cost $450 US. It was made out of wood. It was made too big, so they lined it with horsehide. I used that socket for, a long time, probably 17 years. I'm on this one now for 19 years. This socket has not been seen by a prosthetist for 19 years. This foot, wood and rubber and duct tape's great stuff, has not been seen by a prosthetist for 19 years.
One leg is not enough, and for me, I had no idea about it. I, went to the first prosthetist that they told me to go to, and it didn't work out well at all. Then someone suggested Weiter in Switzerland, and I felt like I don't have to go there, and I don't want to go there, and I don't want to travel. So I resisted it at first, but then I went there and basically had to pay for the next leg myself. And so without the help of my parents, I could have never learned and discovered really, to move independently again. Because with the first leg, I never felt safe in walking. It just didn't fit right. If you cannot work with your prosthetist, take your responsibility, take your life in your hand, and say you want to interview another prosthetist and see if you can work better with another person. We are all different personalities, and we harmonize with different people, and all of us need different things. So it is a choice that you can make, and that can make a big difference for you. And it's not that you just think, oh yeah, I just get this leg and then whatever, and then I see where I'm going. You may find that your insurance pays for your leg now, but then the next time you can get a new component is 5 years from now, or so on. So be careful with your choices. You wouldn't buy the first car a person shows you. You're driving around town and you're making an educated choice.
Ja, und wer halt nichts anderes kennt in Deutschland, der ist zum Teil zufrieden oder muss zufrieden sein. Und wenn er auch nur Schmerzen hat und nicht gut laufen kann. Aber wenn man weiß, es gibt noch was anderes, ist das Leben lebenswerter und baut einem wieder auf.
Die Kosmetik ist bei uns hochgeschrieben. Es geht nicht darum, mit der Kosmetik jemanden zum Gehen zu bringen. Die Technik und die Form, die Passform muss passen.
Ja.
An einer Prothese ist die Passform, das was um den Körper kommt, das absolut Wichtigste. Aber wenn diese Passform gut ist, ist es auch kein Schaden, wenn es schön ist, oder?
Nein.
Es muss ja nicht, weil es gut ist, nicht schön sein, sondern es darf schön sein.
Sometimes we are hard to see, especially if we have a cosmetic cover. Then, we are limping a little bit, and it could be because we banged something just skiing, or we have a hip dysplasia. So sometimes it's hard to identify who's an amputee.
Es ist sehr wichtig, die richtige orthopädische Werkstatt zu finden, in der man sich wohlfühlt.
Looking back now, if I'd have known then what I know now, famous, I would have definitely talked to more people. But the responsibility's got to be on your own shoulders. You can't depend on them to tell you what's the best. I mean, they can give you their expertise, but what has helped with our new pair visits is the list of prosthetists that we hand out and the information that we can provide as our support group is to let them know that they've got options and to not, it's just like the doctor's not always right either. That's why you get second opinions. It's the same way with the prosthetist.
But a new amputee is got so much. There's so much going on. I mean, my first thing was, please let me talk to somebody. Same prosthetist that she had kept promising to send me someone and didn't. There was absolutely no one for me to talk to. And that's why we helped start an amputee support group because there wasn't one in our area. So I would suggest to a new amputee to search, call wherever they need to call to get a listing of other amputees and talk with others, different prosthetist patients.
And so now we are here at the ACA conference. Why are you here and what do you get out of this conference?
I like not being a minority. Everywhere you go, there's someone that you have something in common with.
This ACA convention, in my opinion, is being a new amputee, not like Forrest. I've been an amputee just a little over a year. This gathering of other amputees is one of the most important visible ways to meet other people and understand that you're not alone that I've ever experienced so far. At least this is just amazing.
You know, Terry, that's important because for probably 35, almost 40 years of my experience, I didn't meet another amputee. I don't know if they didn't come where I was or I didn't go where they were, but I was alone. Nobody looked like me. And this is my second convention. And last year was so moving because, well, like you said, I came here and I saw people that looked like me, and I wasn't the freak.
That's right.
And I think that's just essential to our perception of ourselves.
It is.
We're not alone.
Healing emotionally, I guess, can be done by really hearing other people's stories. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video too, because being an amputee is a lifetime condition. When you lose a limb, you're part of a new community, and I think you want to know other members of your community, and you want to hear other stories, because it helps you say, I'm better off than she is, I'm worse off than she is, but it gives you some kind of orienting yourself in your new situation again. And to talk with other amputees, because only an amputee can tell you, really, I know what you mean.
In vielen Werkstätten sitzen die Amputierten isoliert in kleinen Einzelräumen.
Ist schon gut, bei uns Gruppe, 5 Leute mit 3 Füßen.
In einer orthopädischen Werkstatt in der Schweiz hingegen lässt man die Amputierten beisammensitzen, damit sie miteinander reden und wichtige Tipps austauschen können.
Ich habe die Erfahrung gemacht, wenn ein Patient den ganzen Tag eingesperrt ist in einem Raum, wenn er nach Hause geht, ist er völlig verloren. Er geht mit einer Prothese nach Hause und hat überhaupt nichts gehört, was die anderen dazu sagen. Wenn viele Menschen miteinander sind, können sie austauschen. Der eine sieht, was der andere kann. Er sieht, welche Prothese er bekommt, und dann kann er diese Fragen sofort lösen. Sonst muss er nach Hause gehen und sich fragen, habe ich eigentlich die richtige Prothese bekommen oder nicht? Oder warum habe ich diese bekommen und nicht die andere? Und das Zusammenreden, zusammen kommunizieren hilft, so viele Probleme zu lösen. Es ist sicher so, dass der eine denkt, ich könnte doch das andere Bein haben, das der andere bekommen hat. Es ist aber besser, er diese Frage sofort stellt, anstatt er sie nach Hause nimmt und niemand kann sie beantworten. Ich kann sie ihm beantworten und sagen, warum dieses System besser ist als das andere System. Il a de la puissance dans la jambe.
Encore un petit peu. Hein? Voilà. Je suis allé au four, moi.
So etwas erleben zu können, bedeutet mehr für Amputierte, die warten, während an ihren Prothesen gearbeitet wird, anstatt alleine die Zeit totzuschlagen.
Also Sie haben jetzt ja was Ähnliches wie der kleine Junge. Ja. Und wie alt waren Sie, wie Sie das erste Mal mit andere Amputierte gesehen haben?
Also ich war so etwa 10 Jahre alt.
Und was denken Sie jetzt, wenn der kleine Junge so hier mit anderen zusammen sein kann, wie das für ihn ist oder wie es für Sie war?
Also für ihn denke ich, dass er weniger mit Angst aufwächst, während bei mir, also mir war es in solche Werkstätte immer Angst. Ich habe immer Angst gehabt, das war mir unheimlich und ja, einfach was die mit mir machen, die haben mir groß erklärt, es wurde halt was gemacht, habe auch immer so das Gefühl der Isolation gehabt, weil man hier mehr in einzelnen Kabinen sitzt. Wenn man es wünscht, kann man es natürlich haben, aber ansonsten kriegt man viel mehr mit und ja, es ist mehr wie eine Gemeinschaft und ich fühle mich hier also gut aufgehoben.
Der nächste Schritt im Heilungsprozess ist, eine physische Aktivität zu finden, die Spaß macht. Bewegung erhält nicht nur den Körper, sondern hilft auch, bei guter Stimmung zu bleiben. Es gibt kein Leben ohne Bewegung. Deswegen braucht man nicht gleich zum Athleten werden zu wollen. Es gibt heutzutage viele Methoden, die sanfte Bewegung in einem sicheren Rahmen anbieten.
One thing that is important after an amputation is that you don't wait for the prosthesis and that you think when you have your leg everything will be back to normal. That you really get your whole body back in the picture, and that you start really reconnecting and focusing with your whole body. And I think that sometimes that is, that people just think when I have the leg and when the test socket is done or when the next socket is, or when this comes or when that comes, I will come back to normal. You will not come back to normal. You will have to find a new normal. You have to define a new normal. You have to really say, okay, this is what I am today and what can I do today?
Et la rencontre avec le Tony, ça a été fantastique parce que tout d'un coup, j'ai eu l'impression de pouvoir me poser de profiter du sol, et le fait de développer la capacité de faire le contact avec le sol, ça a aidé sur tous les plans, et surtout pour être moins crispé autour des articulations de hanches, dans le dos, moins fatigué. Et j'ai trouvé une autre façon, une autre forme de volonté, mais moins en tension musculaire.
Et il aidait aussi avec le pain fantôme.
Et alors, progressivement, les douleurs fantômes ont disparu, et maintenant, dès que je sens que c'est quelque chose qui pourrait venir, eh bien, j'ai les moyens aussi de travailler. En fait, c'est beaucoup détente dans la région lombaire, et encore mieux cette capacité du bassin à travers les jambes et les appareils, de faire le contact avec le sol, de décharger tout simplement dans le sol. Et ça, c'est vraiment quelque chose qui a aidé à supprimer même ces douleurs des membres fantômes.
Et vous voulez dire quelque chose de l'image du corps?
Et je pense que c'est aussi la pratique de l'euthanie, ça m'a beaucoup aidé à intégrer les appareils, et du coup à maintenir aussi les sensations assez vivantes, présentes des parties qui ont été amputées.
Pour vous savoir où vos pieds.
Et
où les pieds sont.
Voilà, où les pieds sont, et je peux bouger les orteils, les chevilles. C'est un petit peu plus difficile avec les années, mais aussi même l'articulation de genou que je n'ai pas plus.
When we just focus on getting something done or achieving something, we mostly are not connected with our body. I would recommend very much any kind of activity focusing on your body and giving yourself time to sense your body. I started out with yoga because I was not yet very I didn't trust myself in movement too much, but this gave me because yoga to me is very static. You can stretch areas, you have those asanas, and it gave me the opportunity to use parts of my body that I didn't use in daily life and that I could rediscover. And then I came to Tai Chi, and I was just amazed at I saw first one of the demonstrations of our school, and I was amazed at how the movements are flowing and how smooth it is, and the movement quality. And at that time, I always wanted to do something new for my second birthday, which is the day of the amputation, and I always celebrate that. And that was the 13th second birthday that I came to the Chinese Culture Center and asked Sifu if he would think that he could take me on as a student. And his response was, your challenge is my challenge.
In my training, especially in Tai Chi, we emphasize the life's emotion. Once you move, there's a hope. Once you don't move, there's no hope. Tai Chi can help a person improve inside and out. Externally, going through a lot of stretching, a lot of strengthening, and internally, through the breathing, through the mental control, making the mind stronger, making the brain works more active. So Tai Chi will certainly help people that has problem to become stronger mentally, physically, to improve their life.
What I love about Tai Chi is that these are unhabitual movements, but they're big movements. But you really have to observe closely how it's done. And usually when Sifu shows us a new movement, and then he asks me, did you see that? And then usually I say, I think I saw it, and then he turns around, and of course I have no clue. But oftentimes I discover that I make it way more complicated in my mind, this new movement. And I find that it is simpler. And so I had to observe so many parts of myself, and I feel it gave me, it not only increased my stamina, but it also gave me more confidence in moving. And yeah. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I think Feldenkrais also played a part in this because you're lying down on the floor a lot, and because you're lying on the floor, you are already safe. You cannot fall, or you don't have to balance, so you can make experiences in another way. But Feldenkrais for me is working on the detail, on my organization, but then I also then I feel a desire for big movement and for doing something with it. And this is what Tai Chi fulfills for me. So I'm pretty happy with that combination.
Feldenkrais method can be very useful for amputees, for people dealing with pain, with inability of any kind, or with just learning to use themselves in a different way because of a change in circumstances. Because in Feldenkrais, one of the things that we do is to help people discover ways to use themselves with more ease, more comfort, and discover how they can use all of themselves. So for example, in learning how to walk or relearning to walk with a prosthetic device, you can start to find ways to use your entire self, not only your leg and your pelvis, but also your entire torso, your spine, your ribs, your shoulders, your head and neck. All parts of yourself are really important to be able to balance, to move through space easily and with less effort.
So once when you have an injury, when you have pain or a disability, basically all your attention goes to that limb or that pain, and you kind of forget about the rest of the body. But the rest of the body has to continue carrying you through your life. So in order to get rid of some of your disabilities, a lot of the time it is important to look at how the rest of the body is organizing itself to find a new kind of balance or a new way of moving through the world, because you aren't the same anymore, and you never will be the same. So it's up to you, often the person, to find and discover a pathway out of that, learn to use the rest of their body in a little more sophisticated way. Actually, you have to get smarter because you're up against a challenge that other people don't have to deal with. So the fact that you have that challenge is something you have to face and discover a way out of that situation and use the rest of your body in a more intelligent way than the normal person would.
Yeah.
In the Feldenkrais, we have two parts, two possibilities. One is called functional integration, and that's where you work one-on-one with a practitioner. So if you see someone for functional integration lessons, you would probably lie fully clothed on a low table like this one, and the practitioner would use touch, very gentle touch, to see what are your habits and patterns, and to give you feedback about how you're using yourself through touch and movement. And back. That's it. This time, so we go over here, start to really shift your weight onto your right hip, so that now you can move your left hip back a little. That's it, and then set it down. Here, and move it forward. Now back. And forward. Okay. Now we're going to do that to this side. There, move it back. When I was working earlier with Cornelia, one of the things that I was showing her through my touch, and it was very gentle, is how she could organize her ribs, her spine, her whole torso to support the movements of walking. So she was actually walking on the table and moving herself, doing all the things that were necessary when she comes on up to standing. But it's out of gravity, it's in a non-threatening way. She doesn't have to worry about falling over, about organizing her legs. She's involved in organizing her chest, her spine, her torso to support the movement of walking, so that when she eventually comes up to walking, that she has much more possibility of moving all up and through her torso, which will support the movement of her legs and make that movement much easier. We also have group classes, awareness through movement classes they're called, where if I'm leading a group class, the participants usually lie on the floor. Sometimes they'll be sitting or standing, but often it'll be out of gravity. So I will lead them through a series of movements, and they will do the movements on their own, but with the same idea in mind, sensing themselves, becoming aware of their habits, their patterns of movement, where perhaps they're holding, where they don't know how to organize themselves very well, where they know how to organize themselves very well. So a variety of sensations all will come together to help them be able to function and act with more ease in the world.
Ein Körperteil zu verlieren ist eine schwierige und herausfordernde Erfahrung, aber es ist nicht das Ende. Es kann ein neuer Anfang sein zu neuen Erfahrungen, neuen Beziehungen, ja zu sich selbst und anderen und zu innerem Wachstum führen.
The process I went through in adjusting to losing my limb and the questions I had to ask about my purpose in life, I think brought me so much more depth in my life, or that I would not like to go back. I mean, if I could have my leg with all the other changes internally I had made, of course I would like to have it back. Yeah, there's no question about it.
Limb loss is catastrophic. It's an event that changes everything.
Sure.
And we have to play the hand.
That's right. There is life after amputation. And it can really be very full and rewarding life. Or you can let it destroy you. And that's one of the things that's so positive about this convention every year, why I'd like to keep coming back, is because fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure which, here we get to see, I believe, most of the people that make the effort to get off their laurels and come here, we tend to see a lot of the positive side people that are doing something positive to change their lives for the better. Both if one person sees this tape and understands that this is not the end, it's the beginning, or it's whatever portion of the beginning they want to make out of it, then it's very worthwhile.
You know, on that regard, Terry, a very wise man by the name of Henry Ford said, "Those who say they can't, those who say they can't." They're both right.
That's pretty good.
You go around in circles, and sometimes you want to do something, and so you knock on this door again, that you go through anger and sadness, but then you adjust to it. And I think every time you go through it and you solve it successfully or satisfyingly, it's becoming faster and faster that you go through it, because you become familiar with the process of, yeah, it's not there, but I found ways before, so I trust I'll find it this time too. I think I didn't adjust too well right in the beginning, and I think because I was at a point in my life where I was having very basic questions or putting a lot of things in question anyway, it also put my image as a woman very much in question for some time. And I think I just went inside myself and disconnected from the world quite a bit. And I think I really, I didn't know where I wanted to live. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I lived out of my car for some time and really trying to find the next step.
I had been with the same person for 3 or 4 years prior to my loss, and he had been there and helping me out and wheeling me around and taking care of the wound for a long time prior to actually losing it. And so he sort of had time to adjust to it, but there was just a short period of time where I was worried about how he was going to feel the first time we had an opportunity to actually have sex. And so when I escaped from the hospital and went home to check out my theory, it was just, everything was fine. He was fine. Everything was fine. I would tease with people and say, do you know how many new positions I have now that I've lost my leg? And so, and with me, you deal with most things in life with humor. And that may be a cover-up, but I do use humor a lot to hide things.
Don't you think you did that to make him feel more comfortable too? Not just to hide it from you or whatever agenda you had for yourself, but to make him feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
But we laughed about a lot of the flubs that would occur. The little inconveniences and the clumsiness that can be a part of that too.
I learned a lot from the loss of my limb about who I was and the direction I was going in. It's kind of hard to explain, but in my particular situation, it was one of the best things that ever happened. And now that deserves a little explaining. I was pretty much going down the road of alcohol and drug abuse to the point where it was killing me, quite literally killing me. And when this beam fell on my leg, I had to start learning about accepting reality. And when I started learning about accepting reality, because this isn't going to change, this is reality, I had to also start accepting some other realities about my life, and one of them was that I was going to kill myself with alcohol and drugs if I didn't change something. And I have. For every recovering alcoholic and drug addict like me, that it lives alcohol and drug free, there's 100 that don't, that die that way. And I'm just one of the lucky ones, and this has been a big part of my recovery from that. My limb loss now has become quite secondary to my recovery from drugs and alcohol.
I would also say that there are three main categories you can put amputees in. One are the athletes who make it the center of their life and how to overcome it. One are people who don't have a lot of support and they give up and they stay at home. And the third group are the people, and hopefully I'm part of that are quite well adjusted in their life, and it's not a big deal, and you may not find out that there are amputees because they're functioning quite well. So I wish most people all the help and the need they can get to pursue the life that they want to pursue and do the things that make them happy.